Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is the Transfers live show. As you might have guessed, it's live. It's myself and Alex Baggers.
All right, mate.
You all right?
Yeah, mate. It's been a odd day, good day.
Let's not go into half the day. We're here. This is the inaugural episode of a brand new show here on Stretford, Paddock. People keep asking us, why don't you do more lives late at night, letting people know what's going on with transfers. We know we have Joe Smith's Late Night Live on a Friday. We'll still have that.
It's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different.
Ours is a bit different. Ours is slightly more serious.
Or is this just the intro and then we're going to go into...
Yeah. Then we'll have Joe with his transfer seagull or cans, whatever it is he does. Utter madness or lederhosen. So we thought we'd start bringing you a show most nights to keep you updated with what's going on with Manchester United and transfers. And we picked a good night, didn't we? Or did we? Because, here's the question. Jadon Sancho, I don't know if you've heard of him.
That lad, yeah.
Apparently we've been linked with him. There was breaking news, in inverted commas, this afternoon, this evening. I think it was James Duck who was tweeting it. There was an article in The Guardian saying that Manchester United have made progress in their pursuit of Jadon Sancho. And the short and long of it is Sancho has agreed personal terms. I'm just saying there. Right. Producer Cam's peeking over the light.
Yeah.
And that is a bit of a breakthrough. And the personal terms have been agreed with Sancho and the club. Now, like I said, Duck has tweeted it. There's articles about this. Romano's been speaking about it, I think, on his podcast. So, yeah, that's all great and good news. But we've sort of had this before. I mean, is this new news or is this just a sort of reiteration of what we already knew? And the fact remains that unless Manchester United get the deal done, it's not going to happen because Jadon Sancho agreeing to come to United was never an issue. The issue was, will United pay the fee that Dortmund want? And the latest news is that there was some talk earlier that maybe the agent fees or whatever were an obstacle. That's not the case. Jadon Sancho was happy to come. The agent fees are sorted. Terms between the player and the club are more or less agreed. Yep. It's just the fee between the two clubs, which is a £110 million problem. Yeah,
this is what Romano said to you when he came on the Tier 1, which was... Sancho's done, so personal terms are agreed, it's all done, and yes, there might be a little sticking point on agent fees, but the main thing is United need to put a concrete bid in. This is what they need to say. This is the price they need to pay before Dortmund will do anything more. That seems like that's still not been done today. There's not been anything where they've said, look, United have put a bid in. There's talks that United are considering this 90 million plus the bonuses.
Yeah, I think there's 90 million plus a further 18 million potentially due in performance-related add-ons. So that's not quite 108 million because...
that's something that United are good at. That was the whole Martial thing. That was if he wins the Ballon d'Or, if he gets 50 caps for France, if he does this, and this. And even the one today about Dan James came out that if he plays another appearance... we owe Swansea an extra £1 million, which is something that I think that United do a lot of. Where
there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
right? It depends how you do it. When we went for Wan-Bissaka, it got leaked that when we were bidding for Wan-Bissaka, went into negotiations. One of ours was, they wanted 50 million, Palace, and we were like, we'll give you 40 million and 10 million if he wins the Champions League. Which, okay, it might happen. He's a young player and United are progressing, but at the time we weren't even in the Champions League. And we've not won it for 12 years. Yeah. So to say that, we'll give you money if we win the Champions League was a bit like, really? I think with Martial it was like £36 million, which was a big fee. But it goes up if he wins the Ballon d'Or, whatever. So United think, well, if he wins the Ballon d'Or, it's worth it for us. And Monaco thinking, listen, we've got 36 million quid anyway, we're happy. The problem with this is, Dortmund, they want their money up front. Yeah. They don't, and they're in a position where it seems like they're digging their heels in, don't they?
It's almost like United, because of all this, the COVID stuff and everything, United have kind of said, we can't pay that because of all this. But Dortmund, on the other hand, are saying, well, we need that money because of all this as well. So it's kind of, I think they're kind of stuck in that boat at the minute. But I'm still confident. I think that the way this is kind of bubbled up, I think the way this is kind of bubbled up a little bit, after the internationals and all this kind of stuff, I think there is something in this today.
You're a bit more confident than I am, guys. Get involved in the comments. I know lots of your comments, people are saying it's not going to happen, it is going to happen. Lots of conflicting sort of opinions on it. Yeah. People saying they're sick of hearing about Jadon Sancho. I get it, but we want him, and there's still stories going, and it's obviously the deal isn't dead.
Definitely
because there's still talk. I mean, over the last few months on this channel, we've had We had Florian Plettenberg, who covers Bayern Munich. We had Patrick Berger, who covers Dortmund for Sport 1.
Yeah.
We've had Romano. We've had James Cooper. We've had all the sort of the journalists, Simon Peach. And it's always been a sort of similar thing of this fee is the sticking point.
Yeah.
The player's not the issue.
No.
It's the fee. Now, when we spoke to a couple of German journalists that I've mentioned, they were saying, listen, Dortmund are like getting to the point where they're ready to walk. They're like, it's either 110 million quid up front now, or it ain't happening. They even suggested that they thought it might be too far, gone too far. Because let's face facts here. Dortmund have just seen Bayern Munich win the treble.
Yep.
Bayern Munich were throwing shade at him. I think it was Holmes who came out and said that Dortmund are a selling club. That stung them a little bit.
Yep.
They set this deadline in August that United ignored.
Completely.
Yeah. And now they're saying, right, well, we're going to give you instalments. And Jadon Sancho, he's gone into training, he's gone into pre-season, he's hit the ground running, his attitude has been great from what we're hearing. They want to try and catch Bayern Munich. They're maybe thinking, listen, we're not in the same position as we were a few years ago when they used to sell players, not on the cheap, but more frequently.
Yeah.
We had Mkhitaryan and Kagawa off them relatively cheap, relatively sort of decent fees.
They were normal fees.
Nothing
mad.
Mad. With Jadon Sancho, they're digging the wheels in a little bit, and it seems like they've got every sort of right to almost, because he is an amazing talent. He's only young. I mean, do you think Dortmund are being fair enough here, or do you look at him and thinking they're being unrealistic because of you mentioned the COVID thing?
Well, the Haaland signing as well kind of says that they want to do something a bit more now, it seems. The Haaland signing, it wasn't a risk like Jadon Sancho was taking someone from Man City. It's not like Bellingham coming from Birmingham, they've spent a lot of money on, but at the same time, it's still young players who aren't quite proven yet at that top level. Haaland was always going to come in and make an impact. And I think that maybe Dortmund have said, like I said, Bayern have won the treble. That's a huge thing. Dortmund, I think it's 8-9 years now since they've won the league. That's a long time. And maybe they are just saying, well, do you know what? We were going to sell Sancho, but let's keep him. Let's push on and see. But I do think that if United, United hit that fee, if United go, there's the 120 million with, I think maybe realistic add-ons where it's United need to, finish the Champions League. Sancho, maybe some personal things for him that may trigger it. I think it can get done, and I think that, I don't know, I just feel like this has come back up again. I think that something's going to happen.
You think that something's going to happen?
I think so.
I'm getting a bit jaded, a bit sceptical. Guys, get involved in the comments. Don't forget to hit like as well. Give us a like. In the article that's in The Guardian, it's been credited to Ed Aarons and Fabrizio Romano, and Romano's retweeted it as well. Yeah. So he's obviously, it's not just misquoted him or anything. He's behind this. He's saying that Dortmund are determined to stick to their valuation of 108 million, having seen Chelsea pay a fee that could rise to 70 million for Bayer Leverkusen's Kai Havertz. Although United believe the price tag is unrealistic, as you mentioned, Baggers, given the global economic impact of COVID-19. Talks have continued behind the scenes over the past few weeks, with Sancho having made his desire to return to England, having spent 3 years in Germany. However, it is understood he has no intention of going on strike in order to force a move, and he's prepared to stay at Dortmund if no solution can be found. I'll be honest with you, I'm glad of that.
Yeah,
I am. I don't necessarily think he should go on strike, and even though I want him to come to United, I don't think he should be doing that to make the move happen, and that would make me slightly worried.
I think there's one thing as well. I think that you look at the players that you kind of looked at, the United have brought in, where they kind of have gone. If Harry Maguire said, look, I'm not going to play for Leicester, you kind of go, well, look, he's going to play Europa League football, which Leicester didn't play any European football last season. Going to spend a lot more, again, and get a lot more money. Whereas with Jadon Sancho, I don't think the wages are going to be too astronomical more. It's not going to be ridiculous. And he's still going to play Champions League football with a team that, to be honest, we might have a better chance of progressing in that, might have a better chance of competing in the league than Manchester United are going to do next season. So I think it's clever for Jadon Sancho to kind of go, do you know what, I'm just going to keep playing my football. If this deal happens, great. If not, it's not the worst thing. I'm going to play for Borussia Dortmund next season. I'm going to have Haaland in there. I'm going to have some new good players in there. So, and you're right, I don't want to see a player do that because, it kind of taints things if it doesn't happen now, down the line. You kind of saw what Christian Eriksen did, where he kind of came out and said, I want to leave. And that last few months at Tottenham weren't working out well, and you could kind of see things
been watching that
a little bit.
Mate.
And he still was playing, but it wasn't the same. And not just that, he's gone to Inter Milan, and there was that kind of tint that how good is he? There's all this kind of stuff, and I think that if you're not playing regular football, it can hurt yourself.
Night, didn't we? Well, everyone watched that ball fest. We've got a super chat. Is this Arsenal fan?
It is, yeah.
Zane. This guy is relentless, right? He said, bring on Sancho, we are getting Partey. Spelt Partey wrong, but we'll forgive him. He's an Arsenal fan. He's probably, not too bright. Thomas Partey, right, I believe it when you see it. You probably have to pay that in instalments over the next 20 years. I think he's still paying off Pepe, and well, that works out well. Scroll down from that anyway. Let's see what else everyone's saying in the chat. Man United bigger than Leeds? Well, yeah. Isn't Jadon Sancho sponsored by Nike? Is that going to play a part in the issues?
I don't think so. I think there was definitely something. I think early Louis van Gaal era, there was a lot of Adidas signings when United were kind of doing that. But I think when you're getting into these kind of money as well, Jadon Sancho's playing for Dortmund or Puma. There's nothing there that's going to. I
think we know, right? This breakthrough today. McCullough said, think we'll sign Sancho, just a matter of time.
That's it.
Me and Macca on a podcast the other day, and he's with you. He's like, I don't know, man, I'm getting jaded. Maybe it's my old age. I'm a little bit older than you guys. I'm getting a bit cynical. I worry. I have no faith in this club at times with transfers. But yeah, I mean, we've sort of known, haven't we, for a little while that all the noises are Jadon Sancho's happy to come. We know what the fee is, and we know that Man United want to do it in instalments. Do you think we're going to blink first? That's the only way this gets done. Do you see Dortmund budging?
No, I don't think so, because they don't need to. They've got a player that I don't think he can earn them 120 million next year in playing, but he can definitely. Do you know what? He's still got a decent length of contract left. He's not like it's going into. I don't know whether it's going into his last year next year. I don't think that's the case. It's not going to be like, if we wait another year, we're going to get him for 40 million quid. It's still going to be around the similar price next season, even if he doesn't sign an extension. So I think that, I think it is. I think it's going to be the case of either United put the money up or Dortmund kind of go, unless they come up with some different way and some different add-on structure. That's the only way I can see it. But I still think it's going to be 80, 90 million pound or million euros and then add-ons up to 120 million.
Are you worried that, yes, we've got Van der Beek, and we're going to get to other targets in a minute, because I know we've been linked heavily with Sergio Reguilon and David Ornstein on a podcast, I think he was on the Tifos Ask Ornstein podcast, was talking about that transfer and how likely that is to happen early today. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. God, Zane's back again. Simon Ronaldo, he'll still get 20 plus goals a season until he's 40, and it'd be good to see him back. Yeah, okay.
It would, but it's not going to happen.
Right,
Moving on.
We'll get him and Messi in a double deal. So we'll get to other targets and we'll get to Reguilon in particular. But are you worried that we are spending all this time seemingly focused on Sancho? And okay, we got Van der Beek done, but that was more or less because I think Van der Sar and Ollie more or less got together and just made that happen. And Van der Beek was proper keen to come. That United family says, bit late, lads. Haha. Better late than never. That's all I'm going to say, Carl. Does that worry you at all that we are sort of leaving ourselves
I do think so,
open to being short if this doesn't happen? I
mean, I mentioned it, I think we did the Devils podcast the other week, and I kind of said that, do you know what? I'd almost rather have 4 players this summer that were good players. I'd rather have Grealish, Van der Beek, a left-back and a centre-half or a midfielder that were all 30, 40 million pound signings than Jadon Sancho, because I think we trust our starting 11. When our starting 11 is fully fit and firing, it's a very good starting 11. Problem last season was that, we were short. And I think that if it means that we're only going to get Van der Beek and Sancho, and that's nothing else this summer. But if we don't get Sancho, there's a chance of us getting 3 players and having a squad that can compete next season. I think that's probably more important.
Right, okay, because that was what I was going to say. Do you think, if it is just Sancho and Van der Beek, are you happy with that?
I think it definitely improves.
What do you think about the defence there?
I think it definitely improves us. I think we definitely need reinforcements back there. I think the big question around defence is that, the Twanzebe, Mengi, I think whether they can get involved. And Eric Bailly as well, whether he can get a run of games together to compete with Lindelof, compete with Maguire. Because I think if they can do that, there's a chance. But otherwise, I think we're a bit short at centre-half. I still think we're definitely missing something at left-back, something going forward at left-back. Right-back, I think with Wan-Bissaka, Williams maybe moving over, I think we're okay. But I definitely think we need someone back there.
There was a good comment, I think with Tom Greenwell, I forgot, sorry, it sort of came and went. Yeah. But if you can scroll up, keep going. Which I think there he is. Are there any more academy lads we would be bringing into the first team squad to supplement a lack of signings? That's a very good question. We know, I think it was Dylan Levitt's just gone on loan to Charlton. We were speaking to David Pritt, who's our resident academy expert earlier today. That's going to be coming up soon. He was saying it looks like James Garner's going to go out on loan as well. those are players that you thought might feature in the first team this season, possibly. That's obviously not going to happen, or it looks like it's not going to happen in the case of Ghana and definitely not in the case of Levitt. I mean, Chong went out on loan. I don't know with him,
I don't know, it seems like...
maybe, Ted Mengi's probably a little bit too young. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Talking of the academy.
5-0.
5-0. Man United under-21s, the academy team, playing Salford.
You see, James Wilson's playing for Salford.
That's mad, that, isn't it? How old is James Wilson? He's not that old, is he?
24, and he's getting... he's in that team there, and he's getting beat.
James Wilson's 24 years old. I remember when was it against Hull where he scored that brace?
Yeah, and he's now playing for Salford City and getting beat 5-0 by the reserve team. Or the under-21s isn't.
It is a very fickle mistress in it. Football.
Going back to the academy players, I think that there's a lot of talent there and things like that. I don't think Hannibal's quite there ready to step up.
They seem a bit. Someone just mentioned Hannibal Medjugorje. Yeah. They seem a little bit. Probably a year or two away, some of these players.
I think Mengi's the same, I think another year. I mean,
someone's put 6-0 in the comments there for the under-20.
Wow.
Can't keep up. No. Even Twitter can't keep up. Thankfully, you guys are keeping us on keeping us informed.
I don't know. I still think there's kind of that. I think the Garners and Levitts of the world that seem to be going out on loan. I think that's a good thing because I think they've kind of sat there a little bit too long. I don't think that there's quite a place for him in the squad currently.
Hypermanic in the super chat. All the signs from Ollie are he's relatively happy with his centre backs for now. Sancho and a left back is the prio for sure. I agree with Hypermanic here to a certain degree because do you remember when we were linked with Nathan Ake?
Yeah.
Because Ollie was meant to have said to him, "Look after yourself. I need a left-footed centre back."
Which he just said, "Look after yourself, mate." Probably as a good lad that Ollie is.
And people are like, "Oh, that's it. He's coming." But Ollie, when he was asked about it, said, I think I've got 7 centre-backs. I don't need any more. Now, we were talking about this on the Devil's podcast, and Macca brought out the point that, Rojo, Jones, Small and even, they're not going to figure in the first team.
But
even with that, so you've still got Bailly, Tuanzebe, Lindelof and Maguire.
That's a good... It's not a bad 4. It's not. I don't think it's the best 4 in the world, but I don't think it's bad. I think that adding a...
Scroll up, Cam, to that one about Jay, that question.
Adding a good left-back in there. Adding someone that can go forward a little bit better.
That one.
I think that... I think that would be a good... I think that wouldn't be too bad at the back. I think that, like I said, Ollie's doing this in stages a little bit, and I think the fact that we need centre-half, left-back, centre midfielder, right-winger, and another striker, it's not going to get done at once. And I think that Ollie's kind of thinking, do you know what? I want maybe my top target or number 2 if it takes 2 or 3 years, and hopefully this is the message from the board as well, where they're kind of going, do you know what? If it takes 2 or 3 years, we're willing to sit it out a little bit and build this team up to where it needs to be, rather than just going, let's throw as much cash as we can one summer. If we don't win the league, it's gone. Because that's the kind of worry with Chelsea. They spent all this money this year.
Lampard will be gone by Christmas.
They have to be within 2 to 3 points of the top by Christmas. Well, they're going to be going, hang on, I've just spent all this player.
It doesn't matter if he's a club legend. Yeah, Mourinho was a legend when he went back there. He soon sacked him.
So I think that whilst I think Chelsea have done, by the looks of things, a good job getting all them players in, it does put a lot of pressure on. And hopefully that what Ollie's doing is it's going to be a long process. We're going to make sure we get the right players in for each position, which so far you can argue about a few here and there. I think he's done pretty well.
I think Ollie in the transfer market so far has been, he's been successful. I think the only question mark has been Dan James, which was a bit of a bargain, and I still think there's a chance he could have a future at United. Yeah. Someone's like Brett Curtis, Jay, mate, don't forget baggers as well. You can ask us both. Come on. Would you be happy with Upamecano, Grealish and Donny? I think we need to turn our attention elsewhere. Too much emphasis on Sancho. I like him, but not at the expense of Greenwood. Thoughts? For starters, I don't think, no matter who you bring in, whether it's Jadon Sancho, Jack Grealish, whoever, Stretford Paddock Football Club, who's made the best single signing of the window?
That's a good...
Paddock. There you go. When they brought in Cam Waters. Say that, he's our producer. Going back to that, I don't think if we sign Sancho or Grealish, I don't think we'll get Grealish, but if we get Sancho or anyone else along the front line, it affects Mason Greenwood. No. He's such a talent. And at United, we've always had options. When we brought in Dwight York, did that stop Andy Cole or Solskjaer getting games? No. Did that stop even Sheringham, who everyone thought would be the forgotten man? When Marcus Rashford was here and we brought in the likes of Lukaku and Sanchez, Did that mean that Marcus Rashford didn't get any games? No, it was Rashford who kept his place when the other two are now gone. So I think, the cream always rises. We need to be able to rotate. You need options. Sancho. Mason Greenwood is a phenomenal talent. I think a lot of people argue, he's more of a striker, but he's adapted. He's gone on the right and he's cutting in on that left foot of his. So I don't see a problem, especially when he can play on the left, he can play in the middle. He'll probably stick him on the right. He's that good.
Look, we need competition. We need to get to the point where you kind of go, do you know what? If he's not doing it, he's going to step in and take your place, which we've not had for a long time. We've been relying on players coming in. We've been relying on these signs. We've relied on Pogba coming in, and when he doesn't do it, it's all Pogba's fault. And then you look back and you go, well, that's it. He's got to play. And that was even Bruno coming in last season when Pogba was injured. There was no way of rotating him. Whereas if Sancho came in and if it didn't quite work to start with, at least you've got Mason Greenwood to start. And if the thing is, if Mason Greenwood is pushing Sancho and Sancho is pushing Greenwood, United don't lose. It doesn't matter. Because the worst thing that happens is you have two world-class players and you go, we've got to sell one of these because there's not enough space for them. And then which we've not had for a while. I think as well
with the Champions League, people forget that's a massive game changer.
It's a big...
Because, you had basically, your first team had nights off in the Europa.
You don't.
We sent an absolute second-string squad for the game against, was it Astana in the Europa?
And
you don't do that in the Champions League. You don't play an entire reserve team.
Because we finished third in the league and we didn't get in through the Europa League, we're third seed. We're at the third pot. So that means that we'll probably get a champion of either Spain, Germany or Italy, which isn't going to be an easy game. Second place, so you could easily have something like Dortmund, Madrid as your group. You've seen how Tottenham.
Sorry, Electronauts, I like your emojis that you're using there. Also, it's good to see Ross Murphy in the comments. Someone's put Jibu John. We need a right midfielder, left back, DM, centre back, and a striker to fill out the squad. If passing on Sancho helps fill most of others this window, then it's a fair trade-off. Listen, I don't know if passing on Sancho means you bring in 4 or 5 different players. One player we have been linked with quite heavily recently, and according to most sources, practically every source going, including the reliable ones, Real Madrid have offered him to us, is Sergio Reguilon, who was at Sevilla last season, did a very good job against us. Ornstein, as I mentioned earlier, has been talking about him today. He says, my gut says that in the current climate, the need for finance and squad space at the Bernabeu means they'll probably sell him. It's said that the fee is in the region of 35 million euros, but this decision that needs to be made has not been made yet by Real Madrid. So they're still weighing it up. Yep. So, okay, there's talk that he's been offered, but they're still looking at the fee and is it going to be, is it definitely going to be, right, you give us 35 million or whatever you get him.
Yep.
Reguilon. Yes or no?
Looks good. I mean, best left back in La Liga voted last season, so he can't be that bad. He's got to be pretty good. He's got to be pretty good considering.
I love it. As someone was mentioning in the comments, really like, La Liga's not all that this season. All right.
Okay. Yeah, but they still had Barcelona's left back was Jordi Alba, and he was still pretty good.
I don't think we can dismiss
this guy.
Then you've
got Marcelo. You've still got Phil and Mendy came in for there.
Alec Williams. Sorry, maybe Sancho, maybe back up centre back, and done it, and I'm satisfied.
Correct. That's kind of where I am. But I think definitely he's looking at left back. I think that you're kind of stuck in between two with Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams. I think Luke Shaw doesn't quite offer enough going forward. And I think Brandon Williams is very much a work in progress.
It's really weird, especially on this channel, because
we've got some big fans of Brandon Williams.
Yeah, we've got fans of Brandon Williams, and obviously for people that know Brandon Williams. But I don't know, with Luke Shaw, there's like this sort of thing of like he's had a decent season. Has it been a great one? Has he really? Is the jury still out on him? Which sounds bizarre when he's been here for about 6 years, but it almost feels like it is. Can we rely on him?
I think
should we give Williams a chance? Should we be going for Sergio Reguilon?
There's still something in the back of everyone's mind that kind of goes, Luke Shaw, this lad that we signed was meant to be the next big thing at left back in England, and he was doing well under Van Gaal. Then we had the leg break, and I still think people are going back to that, going maybe if he can get back to that level, but. Again, like we said about Greenwood and Sancho, well, Man United, we need competition. If you bring Reguilon in and he's better than Luke Shaw was and better than Luke Shaw does, then that's it.
Isn't one of the problems or the problems was this buyback clause? I think they were talking about where Real Madrid can say Brandon loan Alex Williams. That's not a chance.
No, I don't think so.
Don't see that's going to happen. I don't think
because I think he felt it's in at right back as well. Yeah. So even if we brought a left back in, I still think he'd go to.
Let's not forget as well. We had Timothy Fosu Mensah, who I love,
Yeah.
But he came from nowhere and was playing at left back last season. So it shows, all's not rosy in that position, and we do need reinforcements. And also, as you mentioned, Brandon Williams can play on the right if Wan-Bissaka needs a breather.
I still think Delon might go. I think Delon might go.
Yeah, do you expect to see him in a United shirt again?
No, and I think it'll be disappointing. I still think he was signed for a team that we're not anymore. I think he was signed to play three at the back.
I think he was signed for. I like the guy.
I think he was signed to be
I just
play
don't think he's good enough.
United three at the back. He was a right wing back to do that. I don't think we've got anyone. And he's also signed for. He's got a good cross on him. He's signed to have a centre forward that wants to head the ball, which we've got none of.
Yeah.
And I think that's people forget this, that certain players work in certain teams because they do certain things, and the low works when you've got someone to cross the ball to.
I've read that comment, by the way. That's why you're staying on it.
Martial isn't someone that's going to want loads of crosses into the box and things like that. So, I just don't think he fits our team anymore. And I think that we could get some good money for him. And I think with the clubs that have been rumoured, Barca have apparently been rumoured to link with him. I think PSG as well. You could potentially, if you sell him now,
isn't it mad, right, that you've got a player who is literally our fourth choice. Fourth choice, left back. Who could go to Barcelona?
Yeah, well, Depay's going to go there as well, isn't he? Which is
what do you make of that? We haven't even spoken about it. Oh, sorry, Alex Williams says that's good to hear. I think he has the fight we need. He has
definitely.
A lot of fight, Brandon Williams.
No, but I like you need them, the right players in there. The Depay one, I think that he worked at Lyon and he did the right things. But I think Steve's talked about this a lot. If you brought Depay back.
Mate,
the fan base,
the piss that's getting boiled when he's in his Instagram doing his Instagram dancing and his songs. Hit 5 million subscribers on Instagram, followers on Instagram. So I'll do another song, mate.
No,
United United Twitter
again. I think that Depay was another one that was at the wrong time. He was signed by Van Gaal, didn't quite work, but was still young. Mourinho come in and hated everything about what Memphis Depay
I felt
was
a little bit sorry for him because
we're
just looking. Someone's just producer Cam's just put up his Depay's video. He's walking around with his shirt off with
that wouldn't work.
A lion tattooed all over him. Very nice. I mean that, as far as music video goes, looks very good.
But
does that mean I'd like to see Memphis Depay back at United? Absolutely not. I'm a bit surprised it's been linked with Barcelona. But
I think he's a talented player that can score, that scored goals, and I think that. Obviously Ronald Koeman going into...
This is madness. We're getting shown videos here
of Memphis Depay's.
And they actually look quite... Oh my God. He's there and he's hanging out of a car roof.
He's
jogging down the motorway with his sunglasses on.
For as much as Memphis Depay is a good player, our fan base...
Yeah, our fan base would
tear him to pieces.
Main problem is trying to get rid of the deadwood. What do you think of the job Ollie's done of getting rid of players? I think deadwood's a bit harsh. I know where you're coming from when you say it.
Yeah.
Of getting rid of the players that he didn't want.
I think he's done well with it. I think straight away, the Fellaini deal to happen like that, which just that straight away, gone.
I'm not saying anything about that. I'm getting in trouble.
2 managers come in before him that kept him. Moyes signed him, and then Van Gaal went, we'll keep him around. He's all right. We'll keep him.
Yeah, Mourinho loved him. Big game player.
As soon as a sub, I have no problems with Fellaini. I have no problem. I have no problem with that.
Arsenal,
but Ollie's come in and he doesn't fit our system. He doesn't play football. That's not how he does it. He's a big physical player, but doesn't do anything that I want a midfielder to do. Gone. Lukaku even, good footballer, great goal scorer, but doesn't do what I want my number 9 to do. Gone. Sanchez, less to be speaking.
These are big decisions as well, aren't they? Let's not downplay this.
Chris Smalling as well. I think that
these are massive decisions for
very
managers to make.
Very good, stable centre half who, has done okay in Italy this year, but doesn't play out from the back anywhere near the level we need.
No.
Gone, finished, and that's what you needed to happen. And I think he's tried to cling on to the footballers a little bit more. I think that Pereira kind of going, do you know what? He can play now and again, but he's just had too many chances. He's gone. I think Lingard does a job. I think he could get moved on. Same with, Phil Jones. Look, we'll talk about him a bit. I think that he was still a good footballer all the way through. It's just that there's something goes on with him where there's always a danger of him flying into a tackle or a post or a.
We were talking about Phil Jones earlier. Do you remember the penalty shootout against Sunderland?
Oh,
I swear, right?
I watched that with a Sunderland fan.
It was one of those bizarre penalties. I swear he stopped running a bit too soon. It's like he almost leaned into the ball.
And
It was
what?
one of the most bizarre things. I feel a little bit sorry for Phil Jones because he didn't want his testimonial because he thought no one would turn up. But we have to be a bit more brutal than sentiment, and he's not good enough. Someone said you guys need to listen to each other a bit more. Stop interrupting and speaking over. We're not going to do that.
No.
Phil Jones is trash unless he's 100%, which is very rare.
Yeah.
I mean, he has suffered from injuries, so I get where you're coming from there. I don't think he's trash. He's just not good enough for Manchester United. Someone having a dig at Paul Pogba. How much of a difference does he make next season if we get a full season out of Paul Pogba?
I think it's huge. I think you saw when he came on. I think the change in that Tottenham game when you saw he came on, I think that was unbelievable. I think that with Paul Pogba and Bruno, it changes everything that we do. I think that we look more comfortable with the ball. We look like we can score goals with the ball, whereas for most of last season, it was counter-attack and try and score goals that way. Freddie McTominay working hard to win it back and then trying to catch people on the break. Whereas when we have Paul Pogba, we're a different team. And I had this argument with someone the other day. I said, Paul Pogba is still, for as much as Bruno's coming, he's still our best footballer. And I think that the little bit after the break showed that completely.
Sorry, just Callum Lee makes a good point there. Players that need to go are on too high a wage, so it's hard to get a club to buy them. Do you think that is a problem?
That's
because
huge.
We went through this stage, didn't we? I kept seeing pictures of players that weren't good enough, sat at a desk with a piece of paper and a pen in front of him, and then like figures that made no sense to me, like Phil Jones, 120 grand or whatever it is a week. And you think, why? Like, he's not going to get that anywhere else. Why? No. I know you reward long-term service and stuff, but it's OTT. And if it wasn't for Inter Milan last season, we would have been in real trouble getting rid of some of these. It's thank God Inter just wanted our entire second string squad.
I definitely think that's something. I think that's probably why Phil Jones has kind of stuck around a little bit longer, because you just can't.
Because you look at it, right? Someone like forgive me if I'm misquoting it, but I read somewhere that I think Bruno's wages are like 90 grand a week or whatever, which is great wage. Yeah. But
it's nowhere near what.
I think there's other players that are nowhere in his class who are on a lot more than him, because all right, they've been around longer or whatever, but it just shows that we went through the stage of throwing big contracts at players that wouldn't get them anywhere else, and we're now stuck with, because if we want to sell him, we're going to have to take a hit. Like we did with Alexis Sanchez, we had to more or less pay
off his contract
to take him, and then he goes and slags us off and says after a few hours of being at United he knew it weren't for him.
I think that, it kind of happened after Fergie left. We started paying those mega wages to all those players across to the top players, the players that deserved it, the De Gea's, even Rooney's, Zlatan, all them kind of players coming in. I think that just pushed everyone up. I think that meant that because we were paying these 300 grand a week, 375 about with De Gea, I think there's rumoured that, is it right that your second choice centre half gets paid a third of what your goalkeeper's getting paid? I think that's about right. That's not a daft thing to say, especially if you've been there for 10 years. So there's a little bit of that, and I think that Ollie himself I think we've tried to bring that down again. I think there is signs of that, but like I said, it's going to take a long period of time. And he said, what do you do with Phil Jones? Because he would do well in a lower down Premier League team. I have no doubt about that.
Well, I was thinking, right, when we went for it, or when we were linked with, someone keeps asking about Camavinga. I might be pronouncing that wrong. We'll be grateful for what you think. He's the lad that played for France. He's at Rennes, is it Rennes? My pronunciation is terrible, forgive me. He's only 17, I think. Obviously a massive talent, but don't know a lot about him. Don't know if we could get him. Have to see a bit more about him, but I think a player like him, he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
Look, Phil Jones to Aston Villa.
That's what I was going to say. That's a great shout, because, right, my point I was going to make that I almost forgot was, when we were linked with Jack Grealish, we had all these players, right, the likes of Smalling, the likes of Jones, the likes of Lingard, you could probably throw into that mix as well, who I think
would look really good.
Would get into Villa's team and strengthen it. I still like England internationals who've, I don't always get in England squad anymore, but still in the 20s, I think, most of them. So if you gave, say, Villa, I don't know, 30 million plus Lingard and Smalling, is that not a good deal all round? And to Smalling and Lingard, you go into a massive club, Aston Villa, in the Premier League. They're getting a bit of change, and we're getting Jack Grealish. Plus, we're getting 2 players off our wage. That, to me, something like that might work, but it never seems to get going.
At the same time, I think that some of these players kind of go, do you know what? Maybe I'm coming towards the end of my career. I've had to do 2 more years here, sitting on the bench, playing a few more games, just do out my contract. I can go to them later on, get paid the same amount, and then see how it goes from there. Because the contracts is the big problem, because that's the thing. If you send Phil Jones to Aston Villa and they go, he's on what? He's going to be our our biggest paid player. You're mad.
And then when you go to buy other players, they've been buying players, haven't they?
No.
Villa, when they go to sign other ones, they go, what did Phil Jones get when he joined?
Yeah.
120 grand a week? Yeah, I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah,
and
no
then it's
thanks.
like, Andrew Sard saying Scott McTominay's going to have a breakout season. I think he's already had it, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Someone was asking about Pau Torres. Gone a bit quiet on that front. He was linked with, I think when we did one of our very first Tier 1 transfer podcasts, I'm misremembering who said it. It was one of the first journalists we spoke to. It was Henry Winter or James Cooper or whoever. They said that Pau Torres was a target for us. That's a good shout by McCullough. Like the video, very good shout, McCullough. Well remembered, well reminded. Sorry. So it looked like that might have some legs. It seems to have gone quiet. Upamecano became the more prominent target. There was talk for a little while of Benoit Bernard-Shiel. That's gone quiet. I don't know. I don't really think that's happening. He looks like he's a very talented individual. There was, for a brief moment, linked with Gabriel Magalhaes. That sort of came and went from nowhere, and he obviously went to Arsenal. I mean, again, though, going back to what I said earlier, I don't know if centre-back is a priority. Is even going to happen if we're going to strengthen there? I'm not saying we shouldn't, I just don't know if we will.
I think he wants to strengthen there, but I think maybe what he's thinking is, do you know what, there's no point of signing someone that is 19, 20, because I've got two lads that can do that. Around that age, we've got two young centre-halves that I fancy can do that. If we're going to sign someone, it needs to be someone that's better than everyone, and unless that's available right now, we can't take a risk on another centre-half, because we kind of took that risk on Lindelof and Bailly, and it's not worked. And
I think Bailly's still maybe.
Yeah, still maybe. And Lindelof is still a maybe, because I don't think he's been bad, but they aren't the top tier centre-halves that we were hoping for. Yeah. And I think that what he's thinking is, do you know what, let's let between the four of them progress, see what we can get to, alongside Harry Maguire, see how we go.
Cam's just highlighted something that made it really difficult for me to read. Lads, David, now he's highlighting the wrong one. David Hanley, lads, what's your opinion on signings? How many realistically will we make, do you reckon? I thought it was going to be 3.
I still think 3 is on the
No,
cards.
I think it might only be 2. I hope I'm wrong, because I think we need at least 3.
I think we need 3. I think that was kind of what we kind of thought was going to happen. By the looks of it, it's Sancho and a left-back. That's it, done, finished. Which would be a good summer. Whether if we get a left-back as well, they're going to look at maybe other options at right wing, at maybe the loan option that might fit in instead. But I think that I think we need 3, definitely. Whether we get it, I don't know. We'd have to get another one. That can't be our end of transfer
about
window.
Another one. Just looking at our transfer that we did make, Donny van der Beek,
Yeah.
that sort of came from nowhere almost. It was like the rumour mill, and then we signed.
Got
what? He's been having his first training session. United put on their website, the official United website.
Yep.
Donny van der Beek has enjoyed his first day as a Manchester United player at the Aon training complex, meeting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his new colleagues. There's been pictures of him. Made me laugh, right? Because there was a picture of him just stood there with like a ball near him, and like loads of people were retweeting, going, "Look at him! He just looks made for United." And I think, right,
he's got the training kit on.
Yeah, he's got the kit on, and he's got
the
ball
ball
there. I mean,
that's what you want. That's what you want out of a footballer, isn't it? A lad that's near a football. Yeah. So.
No, necessarily. That means he's made for United. He looks like a very good player, though. He's obviously started training.
Yeah.
It looks like obviously United haven't got a game the first weekend, so you'd expect him to be ready for action when the season kicks off for the first game against Palace.
And we might need him, because I don't know. I mean, Pogba got tested positive, didn't he? So I think he's going to be another week until he's out of his quarantine zone or whatever it needs to be, and whether he can do another test or not. So there's a very good chance that he could probably start in the first game.
See, that's the difference, innit? There's a good question there what I'll get to. Martino, highlight that one. I'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
In the past, I mean, we saw it towards the end of the season with all the semi-finals that we lost, that Ollie obviously only rated his first 11, and when we did make changes, we suffered and it didn't work, in the FA Cup semi-final, for example. When we lost Paul Pogba beginning last season, Pereira came in, Lingard came in, or we had that sort of combination of Fred, McTominay, Pereira. It wasn't working as a midfield. We lost against the likes of Newcastle. Palace. Pogba was playing. Sorry, Newcastle, West Ham. I think Watford. I'm not sure. I think he might be sub against Watford.
The Newcastle starting 11 gives me.
It was painful. It was
shocking.
painful to watch that as a United fan. But now you look at it, and if you are missing Pogba and Van der Beek comes in, and you had say a midfield three of Matic, Van der Beek, and Bruno,
It's a good
you're
midfield.
not panicking, are you?
No.
You're not going, oh my God, I can't watch this again. It's like, that's all right, that.
Yeah,
It's quite good.
And even in the game, like the Norwich game was poor, I thought. With we start with, was it McTominay, Fred, and Bruno. We didn't play very well in that game, but at the same time, and that was a quarter final in the FA Cup as well. But if that's your third round of the Carabao Cup when you're playing Reading, that's not a bad midfield three. Whereas last year, that was our starting midfield three.
I do feel a little bit for Ollie as well, because he lost Martial early doors and he lost Pogba, arguably our two most naturally gifted players. And then, we still managed to be in the conversation by the time we got reinforcements.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, guys. If you're not subscribing, Cam can put a subscribe link in the chat. Martin O asks a good question. What centre forward should we get since Zagallo will be gone come January? Who's available? I mean, do you go in January? How does it even work?
I don't know. You
you
don't
know
know
what I mean?
what the January transfer market's going to be. And I think it's all going to be a case of see how Martial goes. He scored the goals. He scored the goal last night for France. Had a great game for them. The assist was unbelievable football. Just quality from Martial.
Martial, towards the end of last season, even like in the sort of the games that we didn't particularly play very well in, he still looks amazing, doesn't he? I mean, the guy's so skillful, and he looks happy. I mean, he's not exactly grinning all the time. That's not his nature. But he's a happier man than he was under previous managers. Him and Ollie obviously get on well. Him and Rashford get on well. He's got Bruno and Pogba behind him. Mason weighing in as well. Alec Williams, welcome to the first team.
Welcome.
Alec, welcome. There you go. There's a subscribe link in there. Don't forget to hit like as well, guys. Keep that like button. Keep getting your comments and your questions. Manraj has asked, what are your thoughts on Greenwood's progression if we do end up signing Sancho? We spoke about that before. It won't stop him. Ryan Robb asking, love the hoodie. Do you guys sell them too?
Yeah, Big Cartel, Stretford Paddock. There'll be a link probably in the description. If not,
if you meet us outside in the car park, I've got a few that I've siphoned off. Don't worry.
If not, head over to Stretford Paddock FC. They are definitely on there.
Someone's saying Ben Yedder would be a decent backup striker. We were linked with him, weren't we?
Yeah.
Was it last summer?
I don't know. It is a backup though. And
there's a link there. Well done. Yeah. He's on it in his camp.
He's switched on.
There's a link there in the chat for
I think with the striker, I think it all depends on how Martial does. I think that if he's still flying, if he's still fit, I think it is just a case of can we get someone else in there. Again, all depends on Sancho as well, because if you've got Sancho there, you've got the potential to move Greenwood in and play as the number 9 as the backup almost. You've got Greenwood that can play all the way across that front three. So I don't think your need for a backup centre forward is as much. There's some more talk about Josh King, who I still think Ollie has something, he likes him as a player.
I'm glad you brought this up, and we're talking about transfers and transfer rumours and transfer stories, and that is one that's been doing the rounds. We know we went for him on deadline day.
Yep.
We definitely did. That was all over everywhere. They wanted, I think, 40 million Bournemouth at the time. And it was like, we're not paying £40 million for a player that's essentially a squad player that might be surplus to requirements by summer. Ollie knows him. He knows the agent, I think. And someone's saying Josh King needs to stop trying to speak this transfer into existence. Is it just Josh King, though, or is there a real interest? Because the agent, apparently Ollie and the agent, Josh King's agent, know each other. I know, he's sort of got that connection with him. I just don't think we need Josh King, and I think he left United. I know when Josh King left United, we were a lot stronger than we are now. But I don't think he's improved sufficiently. We've dipped sufficiently to the point where you go, Josh King's the answer.
I'm surprised we didn't go for Callum Wilson from Bournemouth, because I think that him as a backup would have been. He's gone to Newcastle. I think he'd have been a very good player for United. I think he could have done the job.
That?
Callum Wilson.
Sorry, Callum Wilson.
Who went, and I think that the whole of keeping Ighalo around, I think that's the main thing. But do you know what? It depends.
I'll get to your question in a minute. Your point in a minute.
Yeah, I think that Ross mentioned it there. If we get King in for 6 months or so, but I don't think he's going to stick around too much longer for Bournemouth. If he's going to go in this summer. Again, all these things depend on price and wages and stuff like that. If you're getting in for 10 million and you're paying him next and out, really, you're not too worried about someone coming in for that. But if it ends up costing 20, 25, 30, then you're going, do you know what? It's definitely not worth it. We might be better waiting and seeing how it goes and maybe getting a better striker.
Alec Williams is saying, I think Haaland will come to United. I think Haaland will eventually come to United. I feel, if not now, in the semi-distant future. Possibly. Some people saying as well, Ethan Laird's pulled his hamstring. Does that spoil a loan move for him? We'll have a look into that. I don't know how serious that is. Do rate Ethan Laird though, so that's not too serious. Is it ended yet, the Salford game? Was it still 6-0?
6-0.
There you go. Ethan Laird. We'll find out how serious that is. Rate Ethan Laird. Very good player, as we were speaking about earlier. Someone was asking about women's game. You know that the Manchester United women have signed a couple of players today. We had Natalie in the studio. You may have seen her on Instagram going berserk when that was announced. We've got a video with her coming up as well, with her and David Pritt. We spoke about the women's team, about the comings and goings there. So, you know, on this channel we do cover that as well. Just looking at some of the chat as well. Someone was asking, does Smalling have a future? Can he play alongside Maguire? No.
I don't think so.
Do you think?
I don't think so.
I don't see how that happens. That's a good question. We'll come to that in a minute from Hassan.
I think he's going to be moved on. I think he's as a defender, I think he's very good, but I don't think as playing out from the back as the football that Ollie wants to play, I don't think he's good enough. I think that, I think it's his time's done, and hopefully we can cash in at Roma. I think Roma's still interested. It's just getting the right price for him there.
I'd like to see him go to Roma because he had a good season there, and I want to see him do well.
Absolutely.
I don't dislike Chris Smalling, and I think he's one of those. If he comes back to Old Trafford, he'll get a good reception because he put in a lot of years, a lot of appearances. Not always the best. He's always a bit of an in-betweener, I say, with Chris Smalling. Not quite good enough for a Sir Alex Ferguson team, but good enough for sort of the squad in a Sir Alex Ferguson team. Sorry, but not good enough to be a first.
Played at right back for a season. Like Fergie, 2012, he played a lot of games at right back and did all right, which is mad.
So did Jones, didn't he? Jones played at right back and as a DM at times. Someone was asking, can Bruno, Pogba, and Van der Beek play together in the same? There you go, Hassan. Can Pogba, Donny, Bruno play together in the same team?
I think it's just wait and see. I think that it all depends on whether what the kind of game is. If we're going to have a lot of the ball, things like that. I think that you've seen. I mean, comparing City, what they do in midfield. You know,
leave that up, Cam. I'll get to that in a minute.
Gundogan kind of never plays as that number 6 until now and again he'll play in there, and they'll be fine because they're going to have 85% possession. Then don't need someone sitting in front of the defence. Whether United will get to that level of being able to control a game that much, hopefully they can. That's the hope that you get with Donny van der Beek, is that can we play that 3? I'd love to see it, but we're not going to play that 3 against City or Liverpool at Anfield. We're not going to play against Liverpool.
The thing was, right, my big bugbear last season was, we were speaking before about like the games against Bournemouth where we lost, West Ham where we lost, Newcastle where we lost. We lost those games whilst playing 2 holding midfielders. We went against those teams who were fighting relegation and we set up with 2 holding midfielders, and we lost. And I think we should be getting at those teams. Those teams should be like, oh my God, it's United. And the fact was, we just didn't have the personnel.
No.
So for those teams, like, I'm thinking, okay, 1 holding midfielder's enough, and now it looks like we might even not have any.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, against City, let's not forget, against City, we, other than the one we let them have, we won the Carabao.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But we always beat them nowadays. It's old news.
3.
Just coming in the full-time statistics from the United under-21s against Salford.
Battered him by the looks of it.
Yes. Close game, 6-0 to United. Some stats in. Actually, total shots, 15 for Salford, 16 for Man United under-21s.
7 on target.
7 on target for us.
Keeper's not a great
6
day
went
there,
in,
is he?
6 have gone in.
Keeper's not a good day there, is he?
I'm
more
getting highlighted here. They had more clear-cut chances than we did. Is the keeper a bit of a nightmare here? Or what?
Clinical is the word.
Clinical
is the word. Clinical.
So it's successful dribbles, 11 out of 14. Apparently that's good. Cam's
that is very good. And they've had 1.
Yeah, they've had 1.
1 out of 1. So
7 offsides for United. I think we're
good.
drifting
it's good to
towards
see.
oblivion here with these comments. Guys, just before we wrap up, do get involved in the comments. Get involved with some more questions. Don't forget to hit subscribe as well. Let us know any sort of questions you've got, who you'd like to see come. Someone's saying, I'd take Deeney as backup all day long. Gives you something else, and I can imagine defenders would absolutely hate playing against him.
I don't hate it.
I missus loves Troy Deeney.
I don't hate that. I mean, if you get him on a free transfer or for a bit.
We'll get to that one in a minute, yeah. I mean, Deeney, it's always like for like, innit? Gallo next, but Yeah, Dini could come in short term. It's not the worst idea in the world. I don't know if that's realistic.
No.
Samuel Goundry says, how many mistakes has David De Gea got before Hendo takes over? I think probably one before Henderson gets his chance.
I do. I think that... I don't know who's going to start on the first day of the season for United.
It's weird, that, isn't it?
Because I think that...
Can you ever imagine, like, 2 or 3 years ago, we'd be still here going, we've still got David De Gea and he might not start because we're going to start a 22-year-old.
I don't know. I mean, I think that... Let's see how it goes. But like you said, whether this pushes De Gea on or whether this kind of makes him a bit more shaky.
He's another one, though. You were talking about transfer fees, contracts and wages. He's the highest paid goalkeeper thing in the history of football, and he's on like 400k.
Well, this is again, and
which again, can you afford? Like, obviously, if he's terrible or he's having a nightmare, you have to drop him. But how long can you keep a keeper like that warm in your bench when he's on that sort of money? And who takes him if you don't want him? And he's not going to sit on the bench.
We're
How does that
spending
work?
600 grand on wages and keepers a week at the minute. Because Romero's on 80 grand plus. Henderson's new deal's around 100. Someone said 120 grand a week. And then De Gea's on 300 plus.
That doesn't sound like savvy business. I get it. I get that we panicked a little bit with De Gea, didn't we? When it looked like he was going to leave. And we were like,
I think that...
Oh, don't, here's a load of money.
Yeah.
We also looked at the Sanchez.
Oh, Lee Grant as well. Forgot about him.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Colin K99 says the best comment anyone has ever said on this channel.
Bring back Danny Welbeck.
Colin, I'm with you.
Bring back Danny Welbeck.
If Danny Welbeck came back to United, I'd be the happiest man.
I don't hate it.
Fucking planet, I'm telling you. Why not?
I don't hate it.
Just bring him out on, right? Let him be an unused sub now and again.
RH Elite Coach.
That's Ryan Hopper, isn't it?
Saying sign Cam Walters. Don't know who he is.
Right, how can Ryan Hopper, who's coached the likes of Bruno and Fred, honestly think Cam Walters is a baller?
Well, it's Cam Walters.
It's Cam Walters to start, yeah. That must be a
Who is this Cam Walters? Because I've met Cam Walters, but never this Walters.
Paul Riley says, who won the 1976 Eurovision Song Contest?
I don't know.
Was it ABBA? I don't know. Someone says, bring back Chicharito. I don't think so.
I miss
Makeda, love Kameda. Love Makeda. Hernandez, Makeda, Welbeck. Yep.
Get them all.
I'm glad to see we're getting realistic suggestions here. Guys, it's really great. Ian S says, check my super chat. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
What's he said? Did we miss it? Sorry.
He has. Sorry.
Give Dortmund what they want for Sancho. They're a team who always has good young players to sell. So important to have a good relationship with them. Good point, that, because as far as we know, despite all this, Dortmund and United do have a good relationship. I think it was Romano when he was on the Tier 1 podcast with us, said that, in terms of the chief execs, they have dinner, they have lunches together. There's always been that, we bought Mkhitaryan, we bought Kagawa. There is a good relationship there. It's just this transfer. And even there, it's not necessarily the club's relationship has broken down. I think there's been intermediaries.
Yeah.
Was it Stefan Liechtenstein's brothers
there was
getting
something
involved?
like that,
Absolute bizarre stuff. Some others saying bring back Rooney. I think everyone's just saying bring back players. Yeah, anyone that used to play for Manchester United. It's only a matter of time before someone's saying bring back Zlatan. Re-sign ever, he's still got it. He's playing one in non-league the other day.
Yeah, he's not got it. He did it to Lee Mack. People think that was the...
No, not that. No, there's that. He didn't play like Sunday League football or something.
Yeah, he was.
I think Steve's been messaging him because them two mates, aren't he? He's been trying to get him down to you.
He will.
Giuseppe Rossi. Everyone's just naming. Someone's saying Aubameyang or Cavani. Cavani's come up a couple of times. Don't see that happening. No. And you're talking about mad wages.
Let's not spend 400 grand a week on anyone for the time being.
It's just a shame, really, isn't it? Because Mason's come through the ranks and he's sort of a young player that's ready for the first team. But other than that, in terms of attackers, you've not probably got anyone who's ready there yet.
No.
You looked at what's happened with Chong. He's gone out on loan, and others have left, obviously. So that's not really happening in terms of transfers. The problem with any striker who scores goals, it's silly money.
Yeah,
and he's wanted, and it's it's such a vital commodity. The only way you're going to be able to bring in someone short term is if you go to like what we did with Igalo. You go to someone who's sort of playing in a sort of distant league, who's not played at the top level for a little while, and take a chance on him, which kind of works out. We all love Odi and Igalo.
We're not going to mention someone putting Suarez in there.
Suarez, I saw this, right? Was this Talk Sport who was talking about us buying Luis Suarez? I'll say this right now: if Luis Suarez comes to United, I'll burn my season ticket.
There you go.
I'm not even exaggerating.
RH got to go on. Are we going to Boys, quick one from me. What is your United 11 for the start of the season?
That'll be a good way to end it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe before we do end. Go on, Baggers. I'll let you go first. What's your starting 11?
I think De Gea starts the first game. We'll see where it goes. Wan-Bissaka, Maguire and Lindelof. I want to see a new left back. I'd love to see that lad from Sevilla, from Madrid. Reguilon come in. Matic. I don't think Pogba's going to start, so I think it's because I think there's going to be a break. I think it'll be Van der Beek and Fernandes, and then front three. Rashford, Martial, and Sancho will have signed, but Greenwood's going to start.
Positivity. You're regularly on Van der Beek and Rashford all figuring.
Sancho's not starting. Greenwood's starting still because
he's tempering it slightly.
He's not quite there yet. That's my three.
But listen, if that is the case, I'll be very, very happy. I don't know, man. I don't want to be Mr. Negative. All right, I'll go along on the Reguilon ride with you for a bit. Okay. Why not? I think he'll stick with De Gea. I do. I think it's going to be a case of De Gea has to do something for Henderson to get a chance, maybe Henderson gets a chance in the cups and does something special that makes him our league keeper. But I'll go with De Gea. I hate doing this because we don't sign him or they sign for something else. You get this really clipped up and rammed. I remember seeing it was the Scousers going on about Memphis, how Memphis would fit into their team once. And just before we signed him. But I'll go with a Reguilon at left back. Maybe we'll sign him. Centre backs, I think it'll still be Lindelof and Maguire. Right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think we'll go 4-3-3. I think he might. I think probably I think you're right on that. I don't think Pogba will start. I think obviously what's going on, he might just rest him. So I'll go with Van der Beek, Matic and Bruno. Front three, Rashford's had a bit of a knock. He pulled out the England squad with it. So I think he might start on the bench. So
big shout now.
I don't think Jadon Sancho's
there.
Just coming just yet. I hope I'm wrong. So I'll go with Martial, Mason, and someone, I don't know, Juan Mata's still with us, isn't he?
He's still there. Wow, Juan Mata.
Maybe Juan Mata gets a surprise appearance, or Jesse Lingard or someone like that. I'll go with Mata.
Maybe.
I'll go with Mata.
Wouldn't surprise me.
We're going to be doing a preview, and we'll do a proper predicted 11 for our preview. That was just Ryan asking and us doing it off the cuff. And we'll see whether we have got Sergio Reguilon, whether we have got Jadon Sancho, and just how ready Donny van der Beek is to come into this side and make a big difference. That's been Alex Baggers. I've been Jay. This has been Transfers Live. This is going to be coming up tomorrow night as well. It's going to be us two again tomorrow night.
We're back tomorrow.
Hey, you don't do any videos together for weeks and then you do two nights, man. Just get used to it. As always, guys, don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Keep hitting that like button and we'll have loads of great content coming up. We'll have podcasts. We'll have when the season starts.
News in the morning.
We'll have news in the morning as well. Yeah, I think there's only one Ronaldo. He's going to be outside Old Trafford first thing tomorrow morning. So we'll give you an update if we have any movement, any changes. If there is a twist or a bit more of a breakthrough in this Jadon Sancho saga as it's become. This has been Stretford Paddock. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.